A very good morning to everyone. Myself Shahin Dudwala, first year MSc Nursing student from Pioneer Nursing College, Vadodara. It's a wonderful day and I feel privileged to extend my warm welcome to all present over here. It gives me great pleasure to invite you all on behalf of Pioneer Nursing College. We are conducting webinar on virtual learning, not a threat but a boon for higher education during the pandemic. Before we start our webinar, I give some instruction. If you have any question during the presentation, please type them into the chat box. We will also have time for question at the end. To keep the quality of functional sound during the meeting, please mute yourself when you are not sharing. Pioneer Nursing College is grateful to our guest speaker, Dr. Rupali M. Salvi. She is presently working as a professor cum principal at Dr. D.Y. Patil College of Nursing, Pune. Employed at Dr. D.Y. Patil College of Nursing since 2001. She has 25 years of experience in clinical teaching, administration, and research guide several undergraduate and postgraduate students for research, and is recognized guide for PhD scholars since August 2019. She has 58 various publications in profession. And our second guest speaker, Dr. Raksha Patel. She is a professor and HOD in Department of Dermatology, GMERS Medical College, Gotri, Vadodara, for his presence as well as for health support. I would like to invite Mrs. Mayurika Patel for introduction speech. She is completed MSc Nursing in India. She is assistant professor at Pioneer Nursing College. Over to you, ma'am.
Good morning, one and all. Thank you to all of you for being here with us today. We are very pleased to be able to welcome respected resource persons, and I would like to thank our principal, Mr. Sanjay Dixit, and vice principal, Mrs. Varsha Sharma, organizing secretary, to give us opportunities to organize this webinar. Dear participants, when COVID-19 pandemic was started, everybody was so panicked. People were not able to go outside even for buying their daily essentials. Schools and colleges were called off, and due to that study of many students were affected. Parents was also worried about their children's future education. At that time, virtual learning is proven to be a boon. So today we are going to talk about virtual learning, not a threat, but a boon for a higher education. To deliver this talk, we have highly educated and experienced person, Dr. Rupali M. Salvi, Principal of Dr. D.Y. Patil College of Nursing, Pune, and Dr. Raksha Patel, Professor and HOD Department of Dermatology, GMERS Medical College, Gotri, Vadodara.
Am I audible?
Yes.
So at the outset, I would like to say a very warm good morning to all of you. Is my screen visible, Mayurika?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
A very warm good morning to all of you, all the way from Pune. It feels so nice to be connected to people in Gujarat. In spite of this pandemic, we can see each other face to face. At the outset, I'm grateful to Mayurika and Shahin for that good introduction. And I want to thank Mr. Sanjay Dixit, the principal, Mrs. Varsha Sharma, the vice principal, and Mr. Chirag Patel, the class coordinator for first year MSc Nursing batch. Today, I feel very privileged to talk before such an august gathering. So without wasting much time, let us move on to the topic, which says about tools, benefits, and applications of virtual learning. So these are the objectives for the webinar, that at the end of the webinar, you will be able to understand certain things. So let me skip this and move on to what is actually blended learning. Blended learning is something in which we are able to use different types of e-learning, virtual learning, distance learning, web-based learning, and online learning. So what is blended learning? Actually, because of this sudden outbreak of COVID pandemic, what has happened is the students were not able to come into the college scenario. And suddenly everyone was told to lock down the college and sit at home and start working from home. As you know that we were used to the traditional type of teaching and learning setup here in India. However, because of this COVID pandemic, now our students were at home and the teachers were maybe in the college or in their own homes, and we started teaching our students through different kind of apps. And this is called as blended learning, where we don't meet each other face to face, but we use an electronic format. Let me tell you, dear friends, that blended learning is something that is already happening in the West for many, many years. It is now here in India. We have already coped up to a great extent with blended learning in India also. But I want to tell you that blended learning is here to stay. We are going to be very much a part of blended learning for many more years in the future. Then there is e-learning where we use computers. Then there is web-based learning where maybe you may get a CD. You may insert the CD into your computer and see what it is. And then there is something called as online learning where you can simply install a CD-ROM or you can have access to your internet. Now there are many benefits of this kind of learning. It is very much convenient. You can sit in your own homes. You can repeat it. It is quite rich in the content. And it is very easy to monitor progress. Like you can pause and you can go back and see it once again after some time once you are finished. So what are the e-learning tools? You must have, it is a seamless communication. Seamless means without any, there is no boundary to it. You can talk and you can communicate without any kind of, seam or boundary. So there can be emails. You are already used to these things like emails, audio chats, web, video conference as we are having today. And then of course there is the learning management system. Most of the universities are trying to have or develop their own learning management system. Let me tell you, we at BPU, at BY Patil, we are having our own learning management system now for more than 6-7 years because we are NAC accredited and this is our third cycle. So we were already having this ERP in place, wherein we teach our students through the ERP. All the students log in through the ERP. The teacher logs in through her own ERP. The students will then be able to have access to our PPTs, to our e-content. We give them different images, web links, and we mark attendance also in that way. We also, our students also pay their fees, forms, exam forms through the ERP. And ERP is here for a long way. The teachers apply for leaves through ERP, and also our attendance is monitored through the ERP. So this learning management system, every university is trying to adapt according to their convenience, and they try to use it in a nice way. So let us move on to the topic for today, which is virtual learning. So what is virtual learning? It is a learning experience which is enhanced through utilizing technology with or without internet. Why with or without internet? Sometimes you may need internet, sometimes you may not, depending on what kind of format you are using. And maybe you may be personally present inside the organization, physically or outside it. And then what happens is usually it takes place on an online environment where the teacher and the learner, both of them are not actually face to face with each other. And the teaching activity is carried out, the learning activity is carried out. And in an online environment, it allows the teacher to interact with a large number of students. Imagine if I had to come to your college today, your principal would have required to arrange a very big auditorium where more than 100 of you are seated. And imagine the amount of place and the time required. But because we are on a virtual mode now, we can easily see each other, and there can be more than 1,000 participants also at the same time. And this is what is the beauty of having virtual learning. So what are the basic characteristics and benefits? First of all, it is a remote access. The student, the teacher and the student are far away from each other. They can even be, far away as far as worldwide. And the space and the distance doesn't matter. It gives a safe and secure learning environment. And of course, there is flexibility in terms of time, location, and place. Let me tell you this. Yesterday, I was a speaker at one international conference organized by SNDT Women's University, and we had 12,000 participants all over the globe. And literally, we had to start our conference saying good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. because each one of us was in a different time zone. But the beauty of it was that we all were connected to each other and we all were attending the conference at the same time. So imagine you feel safe and secure in your own environment because you're in your own home. And again, your time and location and place is different. And it is, of course, cost effective. So what is assessment? Assessment, if you see, you all must be knowing as MSc students, we have two types of assessment. A very famous question in your question paper, in your education, especially question paper, you might get to see what are the types of assessment. So there is formative and there is summative. Formative means what? You are going to do something, ongoing. You may be having maybe your case studies, your case presentations, your maybe your practice teaching sessions, different kind of activities, small little activities which are graded throughout the year. That is called as formative. And summative is the final one, the final exam that will actually appear at the end of the year. So if I ask you a question, what are the types of assessment, you should be able to say there are two types. There is formative and then of course there is summative. And overall what happens with both of them, we are trying to see that the goals, the learning goals are met, because they're again broken down into smaller objectives, specific objectives, and then ultimately you're able to reach the goal for your course at the end of the year. So it is not just only grades that I got an A grade or I got an A plus grade. It is something that I want to tell you that because you are reflecting, you are interacting with each other, you are trying to answer questions, you are trying to solve problems, actually you're putting your critical thinking skills into picture. Remember, a nurse is not a nurse until she doesn't use her critical thinking. It is not only about reading the book and mugging it up and saying it, but when we go in touch with our patient, and the patient, every patient differs from patient to patient, we are supposed to use our critical thinking skills. And the next one is about, trying to evaluate the students mindfully. Mindfully means what? I can also give you types of online quizzes, wherein all the 100 of you can together appear for a quiz, and I will know exactly in the first 10 seconds what happens. So it can be, you can measure the knowledge very quickly by different methods that can be used. You can also test your students by maybe a dialogue through the Viva host that we have. And let us see some of the most common assessment methods to support the student learning. So the first one is online quiz, which I just said. You can have different types of online quiz. Like I would like to tell you that there is something called as Kahoot method, which is used on an online basis, which I will tell you later on in my later slides. Very much used abroad, can be used in India also by the teachers. And sometimes you even may need to buy that particular package. And within like how you put in a question to the student, we all know about KBC. What happens when you ask a question for opinion poll by the audience poll he asks for, and within 1 minute he comes to know who is giving the best answer. It is something like that, where a teacher has already designed a questionnaire, and she will also not know that within who was the first, amongst the 100, the first 10, in how many minutes did they answer, and how many gave a correct answer, and how many gave a wrong answer. So basically, quiz is a very much traditional type of a tool, but you can also do it an online method. It is very interesting, it is a fun activity, and it can be also very entertaining. So you can check the knowledge of the students, and you can also check their overall performance by online quiz. The next is open-ended and essay type questions. You know everything about SAQ and LAQ type of questions. What does it mean? You get a chance to answer in a qualitative manner. In a large, you may have a lot of things to write about that particular topic, and the student is given freedom to think critically and try to understand the topic and answer it in whatever style or whatever thought that she has, her own words. So essay kind of questions are very popular. However, it requires a longer time for the student to think, to organize and to compose their answers. Many times at the PG level, we tell, when it is a short note, we tell them that you try to write 2 lines of introduction to that topic. Maybe it may be related to the futuristic, maybe with your national health policy or something which is futuristic, or a millennium development goal or a sustainable goal. And then you write the topic, and in the end you try to conclude of how that goal is being attained till today or yet left to be. So that is the way that it requires a lot of thinking. It requires a lot of critical thinking also. And hence it encourages thinking at a very high level, that the teacher can evaluate the students at exactly how are they thinking when they answer an open-ended question. Next is the drag and drop activity. Now, what is a drag and drop activity? For example, already the questions are written on top and there are some answers down. You can, it may be in the form of a text box or it may be in the form of an image. And the student is supposed to pick that particular target and drop it into the answer. So the student also has some activity to do wherein the student will try to answer this drag and drop activity. Next is an online interview. Now, what happens in an online interview? You are actually doing a video conferencing. You're trying to teach them, but there is no actually. You get to see each other in person, and it is a kind of an interview where you can actually try to find out the proficiency of that person in the form of language or nursing or any other examples. Where you try to find out how well is this person able to answer you in an online manner. No need for the person to come personally to you. Sometimes it is very beneficial to conduct group interviews, especially if you are having a team project and then there are many people to be interviewed. And then what happens is that you land up saving on time when you try to conduct an online interview. Next is dialogue simulation. Now, what happens in a dialogue simulation where you get to converse with each other, with your colleagues? And it will be based on a face-to-face approach. And maybe the person who's talking to you is in his own or is in her own place, and you actually get to talk with each other. So these kind of activities are good. They're good learning support tool for experienced workers who want to refresh their skills, and especially if the skills haven't been used for a very long time, you can try to have a dialogue simulation where you actually talk with each other. And there are online polls. I already spoke about a good example of KBC where you give your own answer to a survey, and let us not waste more time on this. Let's go to the next one, that is the game type activities. Now, what happens in a game type activities is the learners, they learn to answer a certain number of questions within a short period of time. And immediately you try to give them awards for the correct answers. So, what can be done? Like, it is a game-based activity wherein you try to find out whether their cognitive development and non-cognitive development is taking place or not. You also try to see their discipline. You will also see their risk-taking behavior and their collaboration, and ultimately it all boils down to problem solving and critical thinking. You can also add game type activities where you want to engage and challenge the students in a non-traditional way. How can you do that? You can do this by, many times you see those students who are high achievers. There are some students who are always coming in the first 5 or in the first 10 ranks in the class. They are very high achievers. So you want to compete with their peers. But it's very easy to identify that you have a game type. Next is peer evaluation. Now, peer evaluation is something that I like very much at this stage. See, now students are at the UG or PG level. But what happens when you are having teachers very easily accessible to you? But what happens when you grow up to a stage when you become a teacher or when you become an independent student or staff or you are working in your own physical area? What happens when you want to have maybe what do my friends do this right in my own way? Let me give you an example of myself. I had to speak for this international conference and made my PPT, and I shared it with 4 of my peers. Peers means people who are of my age or my experience, and who will be able to give me an unbiased review of what they feel about this. Without feeling humiliated that, okay, now she has given, if it is bad, they will say it is bad. If it is good, they will say it is good. And they will say, I think you should add this and this and this. So peer is something which is very popular, especially as you grow. You will learn to have, even today's presentation, I've done a peer review by my, close friends and colleagues who I thought will be giving me a good input. So again, peer review. But the thing is, they may be far away from each other, but you can do it through the web and through the media. So it is a very nice thing that you will get a good feedback and you will get an unbiased feedback, a good communication with your peer. Next is the forum post. Now, what happens in a forum post? It is an online discussion about one topic. Okay, you will ask the students to contribute about their own way, according to their interest. And then after that, you will ask them, they will be given a chance with a critical thinking question based on the lesson or the reading, and they are asked to reflect. And then they will post their answers to the forum, and the peers will give them a review on it. again, it is an online thing which happens. It is something like peer learning, yes, but peer evaluation, yes, but it is on an online format where everybody gets to see what their peers have posted about their thoughts. So we need to use these methods when you want the learners to interact and communicate and collaborate as a part of learning process. Now, again, I am telling you that online assessments are a critical part of e-learning. You will say, Madam, e-learning is so difficult, and how will I do it? Especially when we had this outbreak of the pandemic way back in 7, 8, 9 months ago, in the month of March, April. It was very, very, a very big, tedious, taxing task for us as educators. Like, how best can we try to teach our students? Our students may not be having, user-friendly, or they may not be having Android, or they may not be having a desktop in their homes. Now, how best can I meet with them? How best can I put my views as a teacher to them? And then they may not be having a good internet facility. And all these were, to make an e-learning format is not easy. That is what I want to tell you. Today, maybe after the end of 8 or 9 months, you also yourself reflect and think back. How did you feel? I'm not going to the college, I'm at home. I don't know if I'll be able to understand. I don't know if the net will work. And there will be so many queries in your mind. But hence, why we need to develop e-learning is because e-learning is little expensive. Then see, if you are a teacher and you're making your lesson plan, your lesson notes, it is very easy for you to go to the library, take one book, take 4 books, take some papers and start writing down whatever you have read. But when it comes to making e-learning equipment, you have to think of targeting a very wider audience. And what happens is they are not face to face with you actually. They are just with you on a virtual media. And again, you are having a limited timing also. They're geographically dispersed. They may be in different parts of the state. And then how best can I try to balance my busy work with, again, I have family because I'm sitting at home and I'm doing this work. So how best can I try to even attend classes, at the same time manage my work life? How best can I do it? There may be some conflict and post-conflict areas because of your mobility, because of security reasons, and all these difficulties you have to actually communicate on real-time basis. Sometimes, due to language, there are some students who will answer all the time because many times you will know why are these students answering all the time, these 4 or 5 or 10 out of 100. Maybe because they are good language, they're good with the language. But there are some who know the answers, they have good language, but they are shy learners. So then again, for us, when we see the students face to face in a classroom scenario, it is very easy for the teacher because she's trained with that, that kind of attitude, and she's trained in her training how to identify these shy learners or slow learners or advanced learners. But on virtual media, this becomes a little difficult. And then, of course, she has to also think of making it personalized for the students, personalized, because each one is different. The way that their pace may be a little different. And now also see, like I can see some of you are on the video mode, so I can see you. Those who are not, I don't know whether you are listening or no. Now, these are some of the difficulties or the challenges. So let us see some of the advantages and disadvantages of online learning. First of all is automatic retention. Automatically, when you try to see something, because see, we are using more than one senses. We are also hearing, we are seeing, and because of this, what happens is many times you are able to retain it automatically. At least out of 10 times, you may be able to automatically retain at the end of the lecture at least 7 points. So that happens because we are using more than one sense at a time, and it fosters more interaction among the students and instructors. The knowledge you want first, learn at your own pace and at flexibility, anytime, anywhere, it is accessible to you. And it also promotes online and computer skills. I don't know, most of, people of my generation, more than us, our children are more computer friendly. They actually know how to, use the new kind of apps, because now literally first standard children are also having online classes. And I was just talking to one of my faculty, and she said, madam, her son is in first standard. He told when there are multiple choice answers, if it is a square box, it is having more than one choice. If it is a circle, it has only 2 choices. This is told by the child for the online assessment, which was a new thing for me. And I was, I had enrolled for a training. I was trying to do a research on where my form was a Google form. So I had to go through a training of how to make a Google form and look at this first standard child. He knows that what is a square box and what is a round box. And I said, oh, I've become, I'm aging and I need to be more computer savvy and more techno friendly. And I'm sure that most of you also youngsters will be knowing many more things than us teachers where computer is concerned. So we are promoting online. We are learning computer skills. It reduces travel time. Imagine if I had to come to you to Gujarat today, I would have to wake up early in the morning and start maybe 5 hours ago and then travel to your place. So we are saving up on time, and we can work around the work. We can work around the family. We can work around the activities. It also helps to build self knowledge and self confidence, and it encourages the students to take up the responsibility and ability to test out if interested. Learners with low motivation and bad study habits. This is the problem now. This is the disadvantage. Those who are having bad study habits may, really they easily fall behind their learning. Then there is a lack of routine structure. What happens when you come to the college? You have a routine. You wake up at certain time. But when you are at home, you might not have a proper routine timing. Students may feel isolated from the classmates or from instructor, because when you are physically next to your classmate on the same bench, you can, you feel that feeling is very different. The instructor may not always be available. Sometimes she may put up video for you to see, or she may, try to put up some online learning for you to do. She may not be physically present that time, maybe during the lecture. And sometimes, not sometimes, I think this happens many a time, slow internet connections, or maybe if your computer is an older one, then the whole thing, may just clash down. Some other disadvantages to enumerate: underutilized talents and facilities. Many times, like, you think I have more talents, but then there is no time, and then there is no facility for you to actually display your talent. Then again, the cost. The cost is equivalent, if not more, than brick and mortar school. Brick and mortar, by that I mean, is a school of walls and doors and windows. You may think that it is cheap, but no, many times it is the same, because you are spending a lot on the net packs. Then course availability, employment, working alone. Many times you are used to being in a classroom full of so many students, but now you're all alone at home. And then most important is you're missing out on non-verbal communication, non-verbal. Now, even what happens in a classroom scenario, when the teacher asks questions, only then you get a chance to actually answer. But then what about the non-verbal? Only when you talk, like, you are coming on the forefront. But what about what is your non-verbal communication? The teacher is not able to understand. Now, how can you apply education online? Now the traditional tools of education have changed to modern education. In India, there are so many applications which help the students to predict their future. By using this application, the students get information about each happening about the world, in the world, about education. So the number of students use the application as a source of education. So an application has a variety of course and number of skill programs. So let me go through some of the famous education apps in India, which you may be already aware of. Because now, there is nothing like city and rural. The whole world has become one huge city, because we are now able to communicate with each other because of the availability of the modern technology. And same thing is happening with education also. No matter where you are, you can have access, and you can have improved access to education, especially through wherein the students are in a rural area. Let me just talk about some top educational appliances available in India. May not be applicable, may not be used by you. I don't know what you all are using. Like today, we are using Zoom, so I assume that Zoom is very popular in your place. But just for us to know that there is something called as Vedantu, then there is something called as Chopper, there is something called as Baiju. You must be knowing, those who are having younger siblings or little children. And of course, the most famous, we are also having some e-textbooks also available to us. Now, I want to end by talking about some apps which are available abroad. Just as we are using the Zoom app, they also have a Zoom app. They have something called as Canvas. Some universities in India are also using Moodle. Then there is Leo. What is Leo? Is a learning environment online platform. So it is an online platform which is used overseas. Then there is VSIMS. VSIMS is the virtual scenario where we try to give a clinical scenario and we equip our students to have some critical thinking and actually enable them to do the correct decision making. Then, as I spoke about the Kahoot platform, then there is also the dashboard, which is a user-friendly interface which is used very commonly overseas. And then we also have the quizzes, QUIZIZZ. If you just type this, you will be able to see what are the kinds of things that they are using there. Along with this, we also have the GeoMeet, the Google Meet, which are very popular in our country with our educational institutes. So, without wasting any time, if you have any questions, you may ask some. Because what Mr. Chirag told me that there are 2 more speakers after me. Over to you, Mayurika. Please unmute yourself. We can't hear you. Shaheen?
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am, for giving very valuable insight on this topic. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your enlightening speech. We truly enjoyed our presentation. Ma'am, really you are such a great communicator. Your way of explanation is very creative. On behalf of Pioneer Nursing College, I would like to thank you for being such a wonderful speaker. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, I would like to start poll for pretest. We share link for pretest in chat box as well as in WhatsApp group. So, I request to all see the chat box and give your response. Please submit your pretest within 10 minutes.
I can see one question from Harshita. She has very nicely given even the link for this quizzes, so that's a good thing. And I think now she is wanting us to do a pre-test, probably.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mm. See your screen.
Stop, your trial is over. Please submit your pretest. Now, move on to the next session to assessment and techniques of future learning. So, I would like to invite our guest speaker, Dr. Raksha Patel. Over to you, ma'am.
Just wait. Mm. So my screen is visible. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Just sorry. Okay, so, okay. So shall we start?
Yes, ma'am.
I am audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So my topic is virtual learning. It's not a threat, but it's a boon for higher education during pandemic. So like COVID era, so we should take advantage. So we are already knowing about e-learning, but we were not using the technology. Now it is we have an advantage of this COVID era to start this digital activity. So now coming to the topic, assessment and technique of virtual teaching. So be silent when it is time to listen. So what is assessment? Assessment is simply gathering of the, so I can't see my slide fully. So it is partly covered with this. So how can I? Okay, so assessment is simply the process of gathering informations of what students know based on their educational experience. Assessment results are typically used to identify area of improvement and ensure that course content meets learning needs. There are two basic type of assessment: formative assessment and summative assessment. Am I audible, Sonal? Hello?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
so now what is formative assessment? It occurs within the online course or within the process of online course or lessons and during learning, and are used to determine how well student is learning the material. They are best when they are ongoing, consistent, and provide critical feedbacks to the learner. So formative assessment occur during the course, like prelim or first test or second test, while summative, that is at the end of learning. So they are sometimes referred as the final exam and measure when the students have learned after completing the course. So formative during the course and summative after completing the course. And they validate how well your content support the course of overall learning goals. So obviously assessment are about more than just grades. So it's not about just marks. When it is meaningful and well constructed, they help students to gear up for success by challenging them to reflect, interact, and apply their knowledge. So practical application of knowledge to answer questions, solve problems of life, and communicate informations. There are a number of practice you can use to evaluate student mindfully. So there are different type of assessment. So first, the base method will vary on, it depends. Choice of method depends on your learning needs and objectives. For example, online quiz. So we are all aware of quiz. So it will be perfect match if your goal is to measure knowledge gain quickly. But if you want to test your students' interview skills, you are better off using a dialogue simulations. Let us see how we can use 9 of the most common assessment method to support student learning. So first is online quizzes. So quizzes are traditional assessment tool, plus when paired with technology, they're excellent way to engage students learning. So quiz question can take a number of forms like multiple choice question, fill in the blanks and hotspots. So one of the benefit of quizzes is that it is short and easy to assess. So within short time, you can assess many students. And another advantage is question order and option can be randomized. So each student is quiz is unique. So online quizzes are ideal for measuring learning result across the wide audience. Since each student take the same test, you can compare and contrast result across different classes, coaching classes, school and communities. It's a non-graded online quiz can be given prior to starting of the lesson to gain a baseline measurement of the student's existing knowledge. So prior test that is for existing knowledge, and you can also embed the knowledge check test in the module or reinforce concept taught in the lessons, or make a final graded test at the end of the course to evaluate students' overall performance. So before starting lesson, so you can take a non-graded online quiz. So that is prior test to test the students' already existing knowledge. And finally, after completing the lesson, you can take final graded test at the end of the course. That is to evaluate students' overall performance or what students have learned during the learning process. So second is open-ended or essay questions. So open-ended or essay questions are one of the most popular qualitative assessment method. So quiz is quantitative, so you can give marks, while this open-ended essay that is qualitative. So they are prompt learner to explore their thoughts, feeling and opinions while testing their overall comprehension of the topic. So quiz is more or less related to knowledge, that is cognitive, and this is for behavior, related to behavior like thoughts, feelings, opinions. And this type of question encourage critical thinking and best suited for evaluating higher level of learnings. So essay questions require a longer time for students to think, organize and compose their answer. So quiz naturally takes short time while essay question take longer time. Quiz is more or less related to knowledge and this is more or less related to behavior, thinkings, feeling, etc. Third is drag and drop activities. So drag and drop activities are type of assessment that show learners' ability to link informations and apply knowledge to solve the practical problem. So you have to link the informations. So you can incorporate, so you can use both images and text in this activity. So as to give real world feelings. It is both challenging and engaging. So it is essential to use the assessment type when you want learners to apply knowledge in the real life situation. So to solve problems. So in particular situation, what you will do. So you have to link those things. Then online interviews. So you can incorporate a video conference within your online teaching to give learning a more personal touch. During the brief online interview, students can demonstrate their proficiency in the language, music, nursing, and other courses. For example, where mastery of specific skill is more important is a requirement. Sometimes it may be beneficial to conduct group interviews for team project or for team project reports. So online interviews, they are related to specific skill, any specific skill, language, it may be language or music or nursing or other courses. Then interview can also include a mentor as competent, enabling students to get immediately feedback for instructor and help them feel more responsible about their studies. So feedback is most important. So in dialogue simulation is a way to train learners for conversation and customers, colleagues, and other audience. And when creating a conversation activity based on a situation that the student may based on that the student may face on the job, let them know what to expect and provide a safe place to practice their reaction and responses. So dialogue. So that's the method of conversation with customers and colleagues and others. So for example, with dialogue simulation, you can help your student to master skill and customer service skill or test how well they are prepared for a job interview. This activity can also be a good learning support tool for experienced workers who want to refresh skill they haven't used in a while. So you know the things, but you don't know how to communicate. So particularly during interviews or in public. So this will help you. Dialogue simulation. Then online polls. So poll allow you to capture feedback directly from your audience about the learning experience. You all know about the elections and online poll is going about. So they can be used to measure anything from learning satisfaction to why a student made a particular choice during the lessons. Online survey are highly engaging for learner because they allow them to share their opinion, make themselves heard, and are quick to complete. You can also poll questions when you want to quickly grab and focus your learners' attention on something important or break the ice during the online group interviews. Then game type of activities. So game type of activities turn a series of test questions into the game. So it will become more interesting. For example, a trivia game might ask learner to answer a certain number of questions within a period of time and award point based on the number of correct answer. So game-based assessment are considered as a fun and not test. So they are generally a good indicator of true skills and knowledge. Besides, they have been shown to enhance learning by promoting the development of non-cognitive skills, such as discipline, risk-taking, collaboration, and problem solving. So what is cognitive skill? So that is knowledge related to brain. And non-cognitives means related to your behavior, thinking, etc. So that is way of life, like discipline and risk taking, collaboration, problem solving. They are example of non-cognitive skills. So game type of activity actually measure this non-cognitive skill. Then peer evaluation and reviews. Peer means group, your group. So peer evaluation turn the table to put the learners into instructor's seat and allow students to review and edit each other works. So such activity give each participant to chance to reflect on their knowledge and their communications, their feedbacks in the consistent and structured way. So in what is peer evaluations? So in group, they discuss, they share their experience, their knowledge, their feedback, and review and edit each other's work. So they can improve themselves. Then forum post. What is forum posts? So forum is an online discussion board organized around a topic for a particular topic. Just a minute. પછી તને ફોન કરું છું મારે લેક્ચર છે ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ છે કંઈ Okay, sorry. So what we are talking, so forum. So what is forum? It's an online discussion board organized around a topic. So asking the student to contribute to the forum post in an excellent way to engage their understanding and support their learning. In this way, activity, students are given a critical thinking question based on a lesson or reading and are asked to reflect on both. Their answers are posted into the forum and their peers are given a chance to respond. So use this method when you want to learners to interact, communicate, and collaborate as a part of learning process while checking their comprehension of the topic. So forum post is organized around a particular topic. So it's an online discussion board. So you ask the student to contribute in the forum post. And students are giving particular questions which involve critical thinking, and they have to answer, they have to post their answer to the forums, and their peer groups can respond. So like this way they can interact with each other or communicate and collaborate. It's a part of learning process. Then, so online assessment are critical part of e-learning and should be taken with the same level of care and rigor that you put in the creating your learning content. So good news is that you don't have to programming genius to build online assessment. There are many software tools allow you to generate engaging tasks. So you don't have to be genius. They're already available. Many software you can use or you can choose according to your needs. So choose your way to assess student learning and related to align your needs and result you want to achieve. So you have to choose or your tool according to your needs and result you want. So why development of e-learning? So many organizations and institutions are using e-learning because it is as effective as traditional training at the lower cost. So as effective as traditional training, that is classroom training, but lower cost. So we are nowadays in COVID era, we are already using e-learning. So online lectures and seminars, that is e-learning. So developing e-learning is more expensive than when you see preparation, then preparing classroom materials and training the trainers, especially when you have to use multimedia or highly interactive method. But however, so it reduced the delivery cost for e-learnings and those for classroom facilities, instructor time, participation time, and job time lost to attend the classroom session. So overall, it is more beneficial than traditional training. So less time. So moreover, e-learning reaches a wide target audience by engaging learners who have difficulty attending conversation training because geographically dispersed with a limited time and resources to travel. So particularly during time of emergency like lockdown, you can't go. You can't, so you don't have to go anywhere. You can attend e-learning at your place. And when you are busy with work or family commitments, which do not allow them to attend courses and specific date with a fixed schedule, so you can attend at your place, or you are located in the conflict and post-conflict area and restricted in their mobility because of security reasons. So limited for participating classroom session because of cultural or religious belief, like Muslim or some other communities when they don't go outside for particular reasons. So they can have learning at home. And those who are facing difficulties with real-time communications, like foreign language learners or very sign learners. So they may be more comfortable in their home environment or their particular office environment rather than classroom or in public. So now e-learning can offer effective instruction methods such as practicing with associated feedback, combining activities with self-paced study, personalized learning on learner's need, and using simulation and games. Further, a learner receives the same quality of instruction because there is no dependence on the specific instructor. So only one instructor. So there are so many audience or learners, they are attending same instructor. So they will have same quality of instruction or same quality of learnings. Okay, that is about assessment. And so this topic is also new for me. First time I am taking this lecture that is given me by my friend Dipti. So
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us. Your kindness and thoughtfulness are very much appreciated. We thank you for your stimulating speech. It's really a pleasure for us. Your session was very informative. Thank you so much, ma'am.
I was audible. I was audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our session is over. I hope you all have gained guidance and knowledge related to the topic discussed above. Now, time for post test. Link given in chat box or in WhatsApp group. So please submit your post test within 10 minutes.
हाँ बोल. हाँ. अच्छा तारा માટે. હા. અચ્છા તારે ડબલ નથી જરૂર. ના 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 ના. હા. અચ્છા ડોંગર એના સિવાય બીજા પછી એટલે પતી જશે એટલા માટે જોઈશે.
submit the postage. Now, I would like to invite Mrs. Niti Mistry for vote of thanks. She is completed MSc Nursing in Medical Surgical Specialty. She is Assistant Professor at Pioneer Nursing College, Vadodara. Over to you, ma'am.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Finally, I would like to take this opportunity to place on record our heartily thanks to honorable speakers, respected principals, sir, and our most valued participants. I, on behalf of Pioneer Nursing College and entire team, extend a very heartily vote of thanks to all speakers for gracing your important work and sharing your opinions and knowledge with us today. So a big thank you to you, Dr. Rupali ma'am, for her efforts towards virtual learning and its techniques. And I must mention our deep sense of appreciation for Dr. Raksha Patel for her explanation on virtual learning and its evaluation. Further, I wish to express my gratitude to Mr. Sanjay Dixit, Principal of Pioneer Nursing College, for his enthusiastic support, and also I'm very grateful to our organized secretary, Mrs. Varsha Sharma, for her continuous encouragement, analysis of the topic, and motivation. Finally, I would like to express my sincere thanks to my dear students and to organize a wonderful event and their active participation. With the warm words, we move to the end of today's webinar. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us. It's really a pleasure to us. Thank you so much. Now, we will send your feedback form link in chat box or in WhatsApp group. So please submit your feedback form.
Oh, પતી ગયું. કયો lecture? એમાં લેટ આવે છે. એ લાઈવ સ્ટ્રીમિંગમાં થોડું ટાઈમ ડિફરન્સીસ થઈ જાય છે.
Please submit your feedback form. Thank you so much to all for joining us. Thank you so much. Now, we end this meeting.